Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, anywhere in the world. Welcome to Panelists. I'm Esther Limeli Bryan, the owner and CEO of Panelists. At Panelists, guys, I'm not going to say it here. We don't want you guys to know what we're doing. But when you walk into Panelists, just
an affordable insurance company? Then look no further. Peter massaquoi Insurance, located in central New Jersey, is one of the best around. Peter massaquoi Insurance specializes in homeowners insurance, auto insurance, life insurance, business insurance, and many more. We even offer a free financial planning consultation. We partner with over 20 top-rated companies to make sure we provide affordable prices to our clients. We have a full bilingual staff to fit your needs as well. Let Peter massaquoi Insurance help you today.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, anywhere in the world. Guys, I'm not going to say it here. We don't want you guys to know what we're doing. But when you walk into Panelists,
an affordable insurance company? Then look no further. Peter massaquoi Insurance, located in central New Jersey, is one of the best around. Peter massaquoi Insurance specializes in homeowners insurance, auto insurance, life insurance, business insurance, and many more. We even offer a free financial planning consultation. We partner with over 20 top-rated companies to make sure we provide affordable prices to our clients. We have a full bilingual staff to fit your needs as well. Let Peter massaquoi Insurance help you today.
Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome to the closing argument. We are happy to be back. Today is Wednesday, September 20th, 2023. We are again back on the closing argument show, and tonight promised to be as an exciting show because the issue of harmonization have been up for discussion throughout the CDC government time in power. The guy who is the brain behind, one of the guy who is the major architect of this harmonization, who can better explain it to the people. He'll be our guest tonight, who's the Director General of the Civil Service Agency, James Thompson. He'll be our guest tonight. He's the one in charge of all the government workers, civil servants that are working for the government of Liberia. He's our guest tonight, and he will be on the show tonight to come and discuss the harmonization. And we'll try to open the phone line so that you can also take part in the show by asking questions. We have 20 days to the elections. And with 2,471, 617 registered voters, 2,080 precincts, and 5,890 polling places. So as we get set for this election in 20 days, we will be having several guests coming in and out. On Friday, we expect to have a discussions between the CPP, the CDC, and the UP. They will be represented by people from the parties, Hurricane, to come and discuss the issues and make their case to the Liberian people. So welcome to the closing argument. And we'll get started. Let me just welcome some of the guests, our viewers. Thompson B. Buzz, watching from Sydney, Australia. George Yan, watching from Fort Worth, Texas, USA. Yomantro Krenga, Kolakeville, my own Auntie Elizabeth Bowen in Maryland. Big Smoke, Goddie Williams from Sydney, Australia. And my own big brother, Edwin Crow, watching from Delaware, I believe. Dr. Howard Jones from Chicago. Melvin Yan Down from Des Moines, Iowa. But Edwin Crow, you said 2 million. I said 2,471,617 registered voters. Wow, man, I hope I get it right. So, as you know, the president of Liberia is in New York. He will be addressing the world body in the next hour. And the closing argument is represented there by our man, Keff Hassan. He's in New York. And a few minutes ago, Keff was in, he just met the president of Guinea-Bissau. There's our own man, Keff Hassan. He just met the president of Guinea-Bissau, who addressed the United Nations General Assembly a few minutes ago. And Kev took a picture with him. That's our man, Keff Hassan. He's in the hall of the United Nations General Assembly, where the president of Liberia, His Excellency Dr. George Nyenwolo, will be addressing the world body at the 78th session of the United Nations General Assembly. The president of Sierra Leone, Julius Maada Bio, just spoke. I think the president of Chile is speaking now, and in about a couple of minutes, the president of Liberia, Dr. President Weah, will be addressing the world body. In the meantime, we are back on the closing argument, and let me see what our guest has said. Our guest, studio of the guests, I haven't seen the guest yet, so I will keep on recognizing viewers. Again, I want to welcome Lawrence Carlson Yeman Jackson, watching from Norway. Yvette Cephas, welcome Yvette. Felicia Jebo Johnson from Louisville, Kentucky. And everyone watching the show. So in the meantime, we continue as we get ready for the Director General of the Civil Service Agency, James Thompson. We're discussing the harmonization program that the city's government launched upon taking over. That have been a controversial issue. People have been critical about this harmonization. Opposition, mostly the Unity Party, have come down against the government about this harmonization program. So hopefully tonight we can get some answers and clarifications and explanation about this harmonization program, and we'll get the public involved. You guys will also open the phone lines and to take part in this process. But in the meantime, we are waiting as soon as studio is ready for the guest, Mr. Thompson. He's in studio and he will be coming on to address it. But in the meantime, let me just go back again, welcome some of our regular viewers. Again, as I said, Thompson B. Boss in Sydney, Australia. George Yan from Fort Worth, Texas, USA. Yomantro Krenga also watching. Kolake Ville, my auntie Elizabeth Bowen from Maryland. She's a regular viewer of this show. Big Smoke Goody Williams from Sydney, Australia. My big brother Edwin Crawl from Delaware. Dr. Howard Jones from Chicago. Melvin Yan Dan from Des Moines, Iowa. Felicia Jebo Johnson from Louisville, Kentucky. Yvette Cephas, she's also watching. I don't know, Yvette, the Cephas family, they are my relatives. I know from Oro Chuba. I don't know whether you're connected to them, but I know we are related. The Cephas family from Oro Chuba. Lawrence Carlson Yima Jackson from Norway. Melvin Deshi, monitoring from Europe. Also, I see Otello Swa, Bilson Pay, my own brother, Young Bestow from Pennsylvania. We used to go to the same church years ago. Lasana Kone from Paris, France. Abraham Bobby Fanny from Trenton, New Jersey. Okay. He's saying so. Melvin Yan Dan. Okay. Yeah, okay. Edwin Croy, is there anything about Alan White? Yeah, I think Alan White, he addressed, he had at the congressional hearing yesterday. He made an accusation against the government, but I'm told that the Liberian government will be responding in due course to his testimony yesterday before the U.S. Congress subcommittee. Also, the government is preparing a response. I was told as I tried to find out what's going on, the government I heard will be responding to Alan White allegations. So we wait to hear from the government in the next couple of hours or few days. Let's see what happens. But he made some damning allegations yesterday. And so the government Liberia and her will be making an official response. Victor Babo, no matter Bilson Pay, Musa Sharif from Atlanta, Titus Tier, Philip Passoir, our own man he's somewhere, I think he's in Europe there. Moba Johnson, my good friend, Moba Johnson, I think he's from Delaware. This guy, Mobile Johnson. Everything the guy told me came to pass though. George Kilby, Mommy Boy Gay from South Dakota. Kittere Tobogi from Baltimore City, 18th Street. But anyway, guys, I'm still waiting to hear from the guys in the studio. Let me see whether the guest is ready. So studio, if the guest is in studio, can you bring it on so we can get the show started, please? So the guys in Truth FM, if you have the guest there, can you please bring him on the show? As we await the show to start. Yeah, we're still waiting for the guest. I know the guest is in Truth F. He's at Truth FM studio. We're still waiting for him to bring him on. So while we're waiting for the guys to bring him on, let me continue to recognize you guys who took your time to come on early to watch the show. Paul Henry, Koluba Taya, Mikael Lamas, Liberian Tinker Village, and Daniel Kevin from Boyne. They're all watching the show. Guys, just give me a second. Let me get to studio quick. Take the studio quick. Okay, we're now bringing a guest for today, James Thompson, Director General of the Civil Service Agency. Mr. Thompson, welcome to the closing argument. Mr. Thompson, you can hear us? Can you hear me? Mr. Thompson, can you hear me? Mr. Thompson, can you hear me?
I decided to support him. First time I just see him. I know him. So, I want to say.
Viewers, you guys, please excuse me, having some technical problem. I don't know what's going on, but I'm trying to solve this problem. He's in the studio, but I can't hear him. Okay, Truth FM, Jackie, welcome. Truth FM, you guys, can a guest hear us? Herman Jala, can a guest hear us? Mr. Thompson, can you hear us? Mr. Thompson, can you hear us?
Doesn't seem like it.
I don't think you're hearing us though.
People need energetic and young men are aging and feel that. Tomorrow they will give him this.
Jala, can the guest not hearing us?
Because our representative, he will represent us in a way that things will be better.
And liability, they should move. And you call for people to go and get liability October 2023. The first person you see
is Mr. Thompson hearing us? No way. Well, Jackie, why the guys are working on things? You got any thing to say from your end before the show start? What you expect from the guests tonight? This harmonization issue been around for the last 5, almost 6 years. So I don't know. Today I heard Mr. Thompson. He's someone who understands the harmonization process, how it went well, and he will be the best person to explain it tonight to the Liberian people. So, what do you expect to hear from Mr. Thompson?
He's the director for the Civil Service Agency. Before him, Lorraine Thompson, under this government, was director for I think a year and a half before he replaced her. But he used to be her deputy. He understands civil service because he's been there for a while. I mean, he's been working at the Civil Service Agency as a senior official for a while, even under the Ellen Joe Boyka administration. He was there. Definitely understands how it works, the whole operation of the Civil Service Agency. The only thing with the harmonization, it did not start from his agency. That whole process started from the Ministry of Finance. But he was a part of the process, so he'll be able to explain from the government side what the harmonization is, the process that and the steps that it did to complete it over the past year, over the year. I think it took them over a year for them to complete the harmonization. So let's see what he has to say. How does he justify the harmonization? Can he justify it? Because civil servants are obviously angry over the harmonization process, and that's why he's here to explain it today.
But it's still, I mean, but the Minister of Finance, I'm sure, the working collaboration with the civil service agency. So, I don't think it was one person that worked on it. So that's why they work together. So perhaps the civil service honor his leadership and show we have answers to this how the harmonization took place and what
Yes, he was a part of the process, but the whole harmonization didn't start from the civil service agency. That's what I'm saying. That's a project from the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning. Civil service just had to come in to help them out, but it was not their idea. It was not the civil service agency project. It was the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning project.
Well, tonight we have the boss of the civil service agency, James Thompson. Mr. Thompson, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great. Welcome to the closing argument, and I have my we have Ben Sanvee will join us later. My colleague Keff Hassan, he's at the United Nations General Assembly where the president will be speaking, representing the closing argument there to cover the president's address. We just spoke a few minutes ago. Also, Dr. Peabody will join us, and Robert Gagwa and Jackie McCay is here with us. And we'll start the show, and the other guys will join us. So before, we just want to tell a little bit about yourself. Who is James A. Thompson, and how long you've been with the civil service, and tell us what you do at the civil service.
Thank you very much. Thanks for the invitation, and I'm happy to be here to talk about the work that I do. So I joined the civil service agency exactly 5 years ago, September 2018. I served as Deputy Director General for Human Resource Management and Policy, and then later, sorry. So I served. So I served first as Deputy Director General for Human Resource Management and Policy, and later I became Acting Director General, then Director General. So my background is basically in the private sector, the NGO sector. Basically, I'm a consultant, and most of my career has been spent in consultancy. And I work with one of Liberia's leading management consulting firm, Suba Bele Associates. I left Suba Bele as the managing director and moved to the public sector.
Okay, thank you so much. First of all, tell me how many. I just want to find out how many civil servants do we have present as of today in the country?
Civil servants will be close to 55,000.
Okay. Mr. Thompson, let's go straight to this issue about the harmonization. Can you explain to us, the Liberian people are listening in almost all over the country? Can you tell us exactly the whole harmonization process and how we hear most of the time from opposition saying that the civil servants are not happy, they were affected by this harmonization and so forth. Can you just explain, give a in-depth understanding about this harmonization process and how it went and why the government decided to harmonize?
Okay, thank you. I think we've spoken a lot about the work we did, but I'm always happy, to talk about it, because I think it's one of the most important pieces of job that we've ever done, as a government. I think it's been the view that a lot of people, I understand, are just satisfied. I don't know. I haven't done a survey among government employees, but maybe some people may be right. I don't know. But I'm here to talk about basically what we did, and why it was necessary to do it. And of course, I'm going to explain to you the outcomes. So basically, when we took over, we had a broken pay system. We had first a dual pay system. We had a system where we had what they call basic salary at the time, and then an allowance system that went alongside the basic salary system. The basic salary was paid in Liberian dollars, managed by the Civil Service Agency. The allowance system was managed at the discretion of heads of agency, paid out of the Ministry of Finance in US dollar. The challenge we had was, and basically where the term harmonization came, was first to harmonize the two systems. We wanted to establish a single pay system. So the Civil Service Agency managed a basic salary system. We took all of that information, the entire database from the Civil Service Agency. Then we took, from the ASU, Ministry of Finance, the data on allowances. What also obtained at the time was the basic salary system managed by the Civil Service Agency served only 27 ministries and agencies of government. The rest were not on it. There was no centralized pay system. So the rest of it was managed through, agencies request the Ministry of Finance, send a payroll, the Ministry of Finance, give them the money, they go and pay their staff. So we needed to fix that. At no point could anybody say, and that's why you hear many times people say, oh, there were 44,000 civil servants, but the civil servants were much more than 44,000. Only those who are on the basic salary system managed by the Civil Service Agency were 44,000. Well, not quite 44,000. I have the numbers. I think it must have been around 43,800 or so. And of course, 27 agencies. If you note today, we have 103 entities of government on the central payroll system of the government. So that's about 76 agencies of government that were not counted in that determination of the total number of civil servants. So when we integrated the system, we established that there were 103 entities, and then we began to review the pay system, the pay structure. We realized that outside of those people managed under the civil service basic salary system, the rest of the system did not follow the CSA pay and grading system. So in integrating those two systems, we combined basic salary with allowances. Now you can imagine, not everybody who got basic salary also earned allowances. And so we integrated the two. We established what the total pay was, quoted in US dollars, and then we determined whether that pay was in line with the grading civil service pay and grade structure. And so when we did the integration, we assigned the basic civil service pay and grade structure. There were people who were obviously above the pay for their grades, some people below the pay for their grades, some equal to the pay for their grades. We also noted that there were people who earned only basic salary, did not benefit from allowances, even though allowances represented perhaps around only 26, around 75 or so percent of the total government pay package. So you can imagine if you did not earn allowance, it meant that only basic salary you got, And that also meant that you probably were way below the pay for your grade. In fact, we realized around 80% of government employees made below the pay for their grade. So we integrated those two systems. What we're intending to do was to basically put pay in line with the civil service pay and grade structure. That's basically what we're trying to do. But we also realized that we needed to integrate the systems into a structure and a system for managing pay. We realized there were a lot of discrepancies in the system. Our agencies will submit to the Ministry of Finance payrolls that did not reflect actually what they paid their employees. We realized that, some people earn way above the pay for the grade. It was typical, for instance, to see a generator guy earn more than a director. We corrected those, and that's basically what we're trying to do. In fact, as a matter of fact, there's a history behind the whole wage bill issue, and we had to control it. Wage had risen from probably around 35 million in 2006 to around 327 million, and it was representing of the bulk of the revenue we had to run the government. So we had to address pay issues. Working with the IMF, the World Bank, and all of them, we recognized that we needed to do something about pay, because the fear we had was with low growth in revenue, if we didn't control the wage bill, there was the likelihood that there were going to be a convergence between wage and revenue, and we had to make sure we control pay. As a matter of fact, the recommendation we got from the IMF was we needed to bring the wage bill down by 30%. We argued with the IMF. We could not cut the wage bill by 30% because it was going to have a disastrous effect. So we said, first, let's look at pay and see if pay is in line with our grading system, and to see how we can bring efficiency to the system, because there were a lot of people, for example, on multiple payrolls. And then because people submitted payrolls to the Ministry of Finance, the Ministry of Finance they went and paid the people. There was no way of knowing whether or not they were getting the legitimate pay or getting the pay that the Ministry of Finance was giving to the agencies to pay the employees. And we recognize in many instances that people were taking, say, $500 from the Ministry of Finance and paying the staff $300. That was a problem we needed to correct. Sorry. So all of those issues, discrepancy, a dual system that was inequitable, led us to the conclusion that we needed to do pay reforms. And the harmonization of the two systems and the harmonization of pay across grades were two issues that we needed to confront and build an integrated pay system and payroll system, so that we can establish control over the numbers and efficiently monitor pay and control the wage bill. And that's the background to why we did pay harmonization.
Okay. Before I go to Jackie, my last question for this first segment. When the CDC government took over, it is true that some people were making, how much was the highest pay that was getting by someone in government at the time? Because there are reports that some people were getting $25,000 getting paid, and so some people were getting $25,000 and in the past government, and also they were getting, like you said, they had this the special allowances we given, and also the basic salary pay. So you guys came in, you guys had to consolidate both. As a result, led to was harmonization. So I just want some clarity on that issue, because there have been some issues, that debate about people who are making, like, for instance, some ministry. Let's say I'm working at Ministry of Planning, of Finance. My secretary making 500, another secretary at Foreign Ministry making 1,000. And can you explain? Was that the case?
But that's basically how the system was. There was that inequity, because look, if we use the allowance system and people came in through the allowance system, they did not go through the civil service, so their salary was assigned without any reference to the pay grade for the civil servant. So it was typical to see one director in one place make 3,000 and another director make 500. That's basically what it was. And then with people on multiple payrolls, one person could earn as much as 11,000. As a matter of fact, I saw one person who earned $14,000 a month.
Wow.
Not from being on multiple payrolls, but was being paid $14,000 a month. And one of the things that people miss also is that even we, the appointed officials, the ministers, deputy ministers, the president, and all of us, we took a pay cut as well. Because ministers today typically earn what? $2,000 less than what ministers earned before. Ministers today make what deputy ministers made in the previous government. So the pay adjustment started with the officials. But what we're trying to do with pay harmonization, we're not necessarily, even though we realize that if we put more efficiency into the payroll, we will save money. We thought that the payroll was bloated because there were excesses on the payroll. And so when we began to institute civil service pay and grade, we obviously saved money. That's why, as an offshoot of harmonization, we're able to make a number of increases in pay across various sectors. For instance, police officers earn around $169. We're able to take all of them, the minimum now, to $205. The Army, immigration, 70% of immigration officers earn between $80 and $90. We move them up. We had a number of people who were on supplementary payrolls, teachers earning between $4,000, $8,000 a month. We regularized their status, brought them into the system, and took them up from $8,000 to around $20,000 a month. And then after that, we've been constantly adjusting their pay. But all of that happened within the same resources that we had, because when we did the reforms, when we did the harmonization, we built a payroll system, we automated the system, and we're able to cut off all the excesses, all the duplications, all the double dipping, triple dippings, all of that. We took them off the payroll.
Okay, Jackie, go ahead.
Mr. Thompson, welcome to the closing argument.
Thank you, Jackie.
Can you clarify how many civil servants there are today?
I said it in the beginning. I think I said close to 55,000, around 54,700.
Okay, because Dale Francis says 69,000, if I'm not mistaken.
That's the whole government payroll, including appointed officials, everybody, 69,000, close to 69,000. Yeah.
And what system is being used for the
what?
The civil servants? What's using?
I didn't get that. Sorry. Can you please repeat the question?
You're frozen. Jackie, you're frozen.
Yeah, she got frozen. Yeah.
Jackie, he didn't hear your question.
What system is being used right now for the civil servants? What's the ERP system?
What system is being used to manage what?
What software is being used?
To manage the payroll?
Yeah.
Jackie, be clear. Jackie, be clear with your question.
I am clear. He knows. There is a software that they use at the civil service that is being used. That was
to manage what?
Okay. Did the World Bank purchase a software to process the civil servant, the payroll for the civil servants? The database for the civil servants.
If the World Bank purchased one?
Did the World Bank pay for a system?
To manage the payroll?
To manage the civil service agency, the civil servants database.
Well, let me just clarify. I guess you
are you using the CSM system?
No, we are not.
Okay, is there a reason why it's not being used?
Yes, there's a reason why.
And
we are in the process of transition So when we did the reforms in 2019, we had to build a system to use, because we're determined that by July 2018 we're not going back to the old pay system, and we had to get it done within our new fiscal year, and it had to start in July. So we managed to use local professionals to build a payroll platform for us, and that's what we're using. But
what is
we've
the
already
current? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So we've already, with the support of the bank, we've gone back to the CSM. You remember we used the CSM before our CSA for the basic salary.
Mm-hmm.
So we've done the system, we've tested the system, we've done everything. We are currently in a transition process between the ATAPs that we're using now for pay and the CSM.
Okay, so you're using the ATAPs right now.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. Yeah. What was the number of civil servants before, when this government took over?
Jackie, it'll be difficult to tell. I just said, let me give you, I have information for you.
And how many civil servants were added to the payroll when the government took over?
So Jackie, here's it. I'm looking at it. When we took over, the civil servants who were paid through the basic salary system under the Civil Service Agency were 43,816. 43,816. I told you that right now we're probably around 55,000. Okay, there's a difference there.
Okay.
So that difference can also be explained by the fact that on our system that I'm quoting to you with 43,816, they covered only 27 entities. Today we've integrated all government entities onto the payroll system. And that number I quoted about 55,000. Yeah.
Does that include SOEs?
No SOEs.
It's just government agencies, right?
Central government agencies.
Okay.
Of course, we brought in a few more than central agencies. And the National Transit Authority, LBS, those entities were brought in for some very strategic reasons. They were having challenges with paying their payrolls, and the government integrated them so that they don't have those problems until they are strong enough. Yeah.
Okay. So according to what you said is that because you're trying to justify why the harmonization was necessary, civil servants all over the place, all over the country, many of them, overwhelming number of them complain.
How did you determine that they're overwhelming number?
Because they speak to the press and we listen to the news.
Yeah, but I don't think they've had a conference.
Okay.
Jackie, let me tell you something.
Mr. Thompson.
And I don't like to get into political arguments because it sounds political. Listen, I got to start. The number of civil servants affected by pay adjustments was just over 10,000. And for most of it for legitimate reasons. If you were a director, now listen to this. There was a situation where at some point, working with the World Bank, government decided to do some kind of reform. 4 agencies of government participated in the reforms. That reform got stalled because the starting salaries that they created for those 4 agencies could not be replicated. So the Civil Service Agency, Ministry of Finance, NIC, Ministry of Gender got stuck on salaries that were way ahead of the rest of the civil service. For instance, the directors in the Civil Service Agency earn around $3,150, while the director in the Ministry of Labor was earning $500. So obviously, the government could not take people from $500 to $3,150. As a matter of fact, when we applied the civil service pay and grade, and mind you, those people were earning those salaries, while the civil service pay and grade structure had different salaries assigned to those positions. They had not adjusted them. So when we adjusted the civil service pay and grade structure, we had to make adjustment to those who fell above way above, especially way above the grade. And so the system was to make sure we set salaries to where salaries should have been. Because a lot of salaries too also exploded because of the application of that allowance. The allowance system brought in was discretionarily applied. People did not follow civil service pay and grade structure. They just assigned salaries, sometimes based on relationship. And we had to correct that.
So, Mr. Thompson, are you saying every single civil servant falls under the same harmonization plan?
I don't understand the question.
Okay, you said you had to harmonize everybody's salary. A director here and a director there had to make the same salary under this harmonization. What I'm asking you is, does everybody who have the same title earn the same money?
No, Jackie. No.
Why is that?
No. And
Because I
why is
understand
that?
there were exceptions to the rules.
No, there were no exceptions to the rules, and I can explain why.
One example is the office of the First Lady, and there are so many agencies, ministry and agencies where there were exceptions to those rules, depending on.
So Jackie, again, let him when you ask a question, let him explain.
Jackie, let me explain the reason why. Jackie, let me explain the reason. I told you when we inherited the system and we generated the data, we found out, for example, when we applied the data we had against our pay and grade structure, we realized over 80% of all government employees earn below the pay for their grades. That was the first thing. But what we're attempting to do was to establish for each position the pay as per the civil service pay and grade structure. But at the time, and even now, there was no way we're going to move everybody to that pay to make sure that everybody is at equilibrium. It was not possible for us to do that, because you know what that meant? It meant that if we took everybody to the pay for their grade, government needed to add $120 million to the wage bill. So it wasn't possible. So we adopted a number of creative measures to make sure that over the years we constantly adjust pay so that people continue to move up to the pay for their grade. And we've done thousands and thousands of pay adjustments over the last few years. Thousands of pay adjustments. As a matter of fact, I think you are aware that as government, we move everybody earning below $150 to that $150 threshold, which is the minimum wage. That costs us probably around $6 million to do. So that's part of the adjustment process. And there are a lot of people, most people who would tell you that they got affected by pay harmonization were people who earn above the pay for their grade. And we had to make the adjustment. And when we made those adjustments, those who were below the pay for their grade have continuously received pay increments. And the way we accomplished that was through the efficiency that we created on the system, eliminating duplication, making sure we pay direct to civil servants' accounts so that we don't give the money to the agency and the agency say to pay them. So and nobody, for instance, could work in two places and get two different pay, which was basically the case. I remember counting somebody pay in 3 different institutions that amounted to around $11,000. None of that can happen anymore. So that's some of the measures we created. So even though we are constantly adjusting pay, we're still in the same range that we were in 2019 because we created a lot of efficiency. One of the things we did also was we instituted a measure. Let me tell you, Jackie, when we finally combine the basic salary recipients with the allowance recipients and the other agencies of government, we're probably around 76,000. You know what we are today? We're around 69,000. How did we get there? Because we instituted measures that said, for example, when we institute retirements, we don't do 100% replacement. We encourage agencies to promote from within. We've been able to bring the size of government down. That's basically what we've done. And we are still within our same pay range and then it has allowed us the opportunity to continuously adjust pay. And a lot of civil and thousands of civil servants have benefited from pay adjustment, upward pay adjustments over the years.
Okay.
So according to the IMF, because 2018, our government was not under the IMF program. In 2019, when we decided to go back on the IMF program and the IMF looked at our compensation line, budget compensation line, which went up to at least $330 million, because at the end of 2017-2018 budget year, it was $290 million, somewhere around there. And now we carry up in 2019 to $330 million, which concerned the IMF. And the IMF said there's no way Liberia can enter the IMF program unless we adjusted that pay and brought it back to where it was at the end of 2017. And they started with the central bank.
That's not a true story.
Well, that's in the IMF report.
No.
My question to you is,
Jackie, let's get the facts straight first.
okay.
The IMF did not say that the payroll went high in 2019, and that was the reason why they wanted for us to bring it down the way it was before. As a matter of fact, the IMF proposal was reduce the wage bill by 30%.
But
they were not happy. They were not happy with what it, and let me tell you something.
You just said the IMF said to reduce it, to take it back to where it was.
No, not necessarily where it was. They wanted for it to go lower than where it was. And listen, let me tell you something.
Just said the exact same thing when he was here.
The reason why, but no, listen to this. The reason why the total wage package came up and the total value of wage could be determined is because we brought all wages in one place. All pockets of payments came into one centralized system. And so it was easy now to see the numbers, to see the total number of employees, the total number of wages, everything came to light. And let me tell you something. Part of the reason also was, if I tell you, say, oh, we had to bring LBS on, we had to bring this and housing authority and transit authority, all of these people in, is obviously the reason why the wage bill jumped the way it did. But so, basically it was around I think 297 and something like that.
Yeah, that's what it was in 2017. Yeah, so how many people, because he didn't answer this question, how many people were added to the payroll as of January 2018?
No, we don't take a number of people from anywhere and add them to the payroll. That's not how the system works.
That's what happened though.
That's not what happened, Jackie. So how many people were added according to you?
You just said you met 45,000, right?
I didn't say I met 45,000. That's a mistake again. You should listen to me, Jackie.
How many people were added that
Jackie, listen. 27 agencies, right, that were paid through the civil service agency using our CSM system that you know about on basic salary were 43,819. But those were just 27 agencies. Government, the central government period that we operate now has 103. But we brought all of them together. That's the number we're talking about. So it's not like there were 44,000 and then it went to 60-something thousand because we added people. No, we were not adding people. Listen, we do personnel transactions every day. We don't identify a bunch of people and bring them and add them to the period. That's not what we do.
Okay, let me come. Mr. Thompson, let me ask this question because we are on a national platform and people watching all around the country. Okay, when the government, at the inception of the CDC government, how much? I mean, like, what was the amount of workers that you guys met on the payroll from the previous government? How much was the total?
Thank you. That's what I was just trying to explain.
Yeah.
So basically, it was difficult to determine how many persons work for government. I remember, way in the past, working with Dr. Allen, one of the things Dr. Allen was always concerned about was control of the numbers. It was difficult for him to determine at any point in time how many civil servants there were. Very difficult. And that's what we've been trying to establish. That's what we've been trying to build. That's why we've integrated the whole government pay platform, the whole government pay system, pay and payroll, so that we're able to, at any point, if I go now on the system, I can just look there and determine agency by agency how many employees they have. That was difficult. What people keep quoting, Mr. George, is the 43, close to 44,000 persons that were on the civil service payroll. But there were thousands of other civil servants. I can name some of the agencies, but even the civil service agency itself were not on the CSM. The civil service agency were not there. The Ministry of National Defense were not there. Monrovia City Corporation, Ministry of Finance, JFK, all these people were not on our system. So imagine how many civil servants were not counted among that 44,000 that people were quoting.
But there's one budget line, the compensation, employee compensation budget line on the budget. So whether or not they're in this system or that system, there's one budget line that called employee compensation. It went up from $295 to 330. The
No,
IMF asked them to bring it back down, and they brought it
You
down.
said 290, now you
So
go to
now-
295.
So now it
keep
fluctuates
going up.
between $300 to $317 million. The latest one, your breach budget, is now $317 million. But the ATAP software that I am aware of, that system, and that's why the World Bank been behind this government to switch to CSM, because it cannot be manipulated. And right now, from what I understand, the World Bank is not happy because the ATAP system, anybody can go in there and manipulate the data, manipulate the pay. Somebody can call in, because you guys say the harmonization is to make sure everything is in order. But the truth is, it's not in order right now, because the World Bank is not happy, because the CSM system, and just admitted that in the process of integrating and moving over to the CSM.
Who did you speak to at the World Bank?
What?
Who did you
But
speak
you
to at the
just
World
told me
Bank?
that you're finally coming to go on the
Look, Jackie,
CSM.
let me tell you something. The ATAP system was built here by Liberians. And if it was left to me, I would never transition to CSM. I'm very proud of that system we built. It's a locally built system. I'm proud of that system. We're not moving to that system because the World Bank is not satisfied. Let me tell you something.
We are talking
the World
about
Bank, no, the
CSM, James
Jackie,
Thompson,
the CSM, the transition to the CSM and using the CSM is did not come about yesterday. The World Bank wanted that from 2018.
Right. That's what I just said.
No. But listen. And we built our system. Listen, Jackie. We built our system probably 3 years ago. We still have not transitioned to it. And we have not transitioned to it, not because we don't want to transition to it, but there are challenges with transitioning to the CSM, which I can't go through. We're not running for anything, Jackie. Let me tell you something. The reason why wages, even where it is today, is because of the way we have efficiently managed the system. It's not. We have a lot of integrity in our system. It's not one thing that Jackie can get up tomorrow and just go and put numbers in it. And the World Bank, I'm sure the World Bank has never told you that the reason why they wanted for us to transition to CSM is because they don't trust. No. I don't know what. I need to read that report. I haven't seen it.
You just said that you are about to do the conversion, and you just said they've been behind the government for 5 years now to transition everything over to the CSM, because it has more restrictions.
Listen,
and more transparency and accountability.
Thank you, Jackie. Please go and ask the bank. Please ask the bank why we're having transition, and let them tell you the reason why. We were prepared to transition. The World Bank itself came back and said, okay, I think in a conversation we had, the World Bank said, what do you guys think? Should we audit the current payroll before we transition? So all of us agree, let's audit the current payroll, let's fix whatever issues we found, then we transition to the CSM. Now,
so what's the result of the current audit?
The audit report is available. I think it's on the GSC
What's the result?
website.
Because I understand the audit
report.
But
I can't explain the audit result. I think it would be good if you read it. It's
okay, I have read some of it that talk about the ghost names.
You can ask me a question about that, but let me just explain something.
So what happened to the ghost names? Why do we have over 10,000 ghosts today if you clean up the payroll?
I come in, Jackie, I will get to that. The reason why we're having transition, we have a technical issue. On the CSM, when you enter the individual grade, the salary comes up based on this grade and the step. The challenge we have is that it worked with the Liberian basic salary system, because everybody, based on your grade, based on your position, had a fixed pay. It's difficult now because a lot of people make below the pay for their grade. So when you put in the grade, it's not going to reflect the actual salary that somebody makes. And we are working to see how we can resolve that. And that's part of the reason why we have not made that transition. That's a technical issue. And let me tell you about the report. You said the GSC fund, there are 10,000 people who were ghosts. I'm not sure the GSC used the term ghost. Did they?
They were only out of the 10,000 that did a validation, and they were only able to validate out of the 10,000.
Did the GSC say that there were ghosts?
The GSC report and even the IAA report since 2019 has been showing ghosts. In millions,
there were 10,000 ghosts. I'm not sure that's what they said.
But Jackie, you go to the report.
It's your word. So Tomalin, here's the thing. The GSC went across the country to validate everyone on the payroll.
Yeah.
The GSC went across and came back and reported to us that they were not able to verify some 10,000 government employees.
Exactly what I said.
Yeah, no, but they didn't call them ghosts.
It's
they
ghosts.
said they were not able to verify. The same GSC, listen, Jackie, stop making up issues. The GSC has been to at the Civil Service Agency. They came by, they set up their system. Those people who they didn't validate, a lot of them came and did their validation. We are even preparing now for the GSC to go back because it was very stressful for a lot of people who had to leave the counties to come here to do their verification. The GSC was only able to do around 2,000. And let me tell you something, among those people they call ghosts, for example, is the Minister of Foreign Affairs. We got the list. So those are people, a lot of people are just not available to do their verification. GSC have very limited time. So we're giving them the second chance. And look, let me tell you something. I'm not trying to hide ghosts. If the GSC does the last validation and we don't find you, we're taking you off. That's basically what it is. We support that exercise. We are behind that exercise. We got nothing to hide.
So, Mr. Thompson, when GSC did that process, are you talking about that exercise? They were able to validate about 1,500. The people that you say who came forward, they were about 1,500 to 2,000. So that means that's a net of 8,000 people who still remain.
But Jackie, it's not done. Let me tell you, for example, health workers in the counties, teachers.
Are you saying there are no ghosts on the payroll?
No, Jackie, I can't say that. Listen, I can't say that there are no ghosts on the payroll. Every day we are fighting that, Jackie. We spend all our time trying to fight fraud on the payroll. And I can't sit here and be arrogant to tell you say that there are no ghosts on the payroll. There may be. That's what we're trying to find. And let me tell you, when GSC, the reason why GSC couldn't do a lot of people, for example, we got complaints from the counties, health workers, Ministry of Health, health workers, teachers. They say we cannot leave the facilities and the schools and come to Monrovia for verification. So we've agreed with the GSC that they will go back. And we're trying to fund that exercise now for the GSC to go back in the field, especially for health workers and teachers, which constitute the bulk of the civil service.
Okay, Mr. Thompson, let me come. Mr. Thompson, when CDC took over, did you guys how do you call it? Do you guys take anyone from off the payroll, or you guys brought in people on the payroll? Because what my question is coming from the point where I found that there were thousands of health workers and teachers who were not on payroll, who were not getting paid, were volunteers. Do you guys incorporate them?
We incorporated all of them. As a matter of fact, let me tell you something. We had people in the system who were not employed, but they were providing service. We had close to 3,500 teachers, for example, who were just volunteer teachers. We incorporated them.
You guys put on
we have people in internal affairs, in health, for example, who were volunteers. We incorporated all of those people. So at the time, once we were providing service, and for some of them, government were giving them small allowance, $4,000, Liberian dollars a month. We brought all of them onto the central government payroll.
Okay.
And regularized their status. But people came and people left, because there were a lot of people, for instance, who had reached retirement, who were not working, some of them sick, some of them dead. They were still on the payroll. We implemented a retirement program. I think 2 retirement programs to get those people off, and then we get them replaced.
Okay, so how do you determine who moved up to the pay grade or to the pay grade? What is the determination?
How we can determine who moved up?
Yeah.
Well, it's a question of so for instance, I think I have some numbers here. So Tomalin, for example, when we did the pay reforms in 2019,
yeah,
police officers moved from 160 down to 205. That's for the lowest level. Of course, there were adjustments at other levels later. Liberia Immigration Service, 135. Some of them as low as $90. They moved to $185. Liberia National Fire Service, 104 to around $155 minimum. Drug DEA, they were around $75 or so. We moved them to $125 today. DEA officers are even above $125. The AFL, we moved the AFL salary up as well. Teachers, health workers, there were many of those. I think, Jackie, there were those people who came from Farah and all of those places on very low pay. We've been working to adjust those people pay.
Yeah, because
go ahead.
Go ahead.
There are many of them. We have the data. Health workers just the other day, we made some adjustment for health workers in the farthest counties, the farthest 8 counties of the country. And this is something that we constantly do. Transport inspectors, all kinds of different individuals. So when we encourage agencies to promote from within, to reduce, to limit their replacements, for instance, when people retire, we allow them to use the savings to adjust pay. When they have excess in compensation, we work with them to adjust pay of people who were below the pay for their grade. And so a lot of those people have moved way up since 2019.
Should I go?
Yeah, go ahead.
Please.
So, Mr. Thompson, my question to you is, were there exemptions to the harmonization process? Because
We say
no,
as far as I'm concerned,
like the First Lady office or ministerial offices, there were exemptions.
No exemptions. As a matter of fact, there were people
when this happened, Mr. Thompson, and in all fairness to you, because the harmonization was done directly at the Ministry of Finance, it was not done at CSA. So in all fairness to you, although I know you were a part of the process.
No, Jackie, I was not just a part of it. I was one of the leaders of the harmonization exercise. The exercise was a joint
to the process,
Jackie,
like the First Lady office.
Let me correct that first. Let me correct that.
It is true.
No, Jackie, you don't know more than what I know. The harmonization exercise was a joint. Jackie, it was a joint exercise between the Civil Service Agency and the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning. And that's why you saw me sitting there as that Deputy Director General of the Civil Service Agency at the time. Every time you went there, you saw me. You think if it was a Ministry of Finance alone exercise, I would have been there?
No, I didn't say it was them alone. I'm saying
it was not their alone initiative. The
harmonization process started from the end.
No, it did not start from Ministry of Finance. It started with Ministry of Finance and the Civil Service Agency and the President of Liberia giving the directive to agencies.
I know you were.
No, but I was not just an attendee. Our institutions were working together to get it done. It was a joint exercise.
In all fairness to you, there are some processes that probably you were not involved because Ministry of Finance did it. But I do know that that like the office of the First Lady and certain ministries and agencies got exemption.
I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that.
It's true. Okay, don't say
it's not true.
But yes, my question to you.
Yeah, that's not true. We need to correct that. We need to correct that. I think that's a misconception. There were no exceptions.
Jackie, you gotta come out with evidence of
you don't just sit and make assumptions.
I don't take government property.
Jackie,
government property is right there. The evidence is right there.
I don't know what evidence you have, Jackie. You probably need to show that evidence for me.
Everything I'm saying here is accurately stated.
Jackie, there were no exceptions. In fact, there were people. There were agencies. There were agencies that sought exceptions. And those requests were denied. Some of them reached as far as the president.
You say you are said.
What did I say?
You say there were agencies that sought exceptions.
No, I said there were agencies that sought exceptions, but they were denied. The GSC, for example, is one. GSC wanted an exception. NEC wanted an exception. Everybody, a lot of people, institutions wanted an exception, but they were denied.
Can I ask you a question?
Please do.
Okay. Over the last year plus, what happened? Is there one payroll system? Because there's supposed to be 2 payroll systems. One is with the consultancy.
Yeah.
One is with the consultancy, where there are consultants that are on a separate set of payroll. Can you verify that? Which includes, can you verify that?
Yeah, but consultancy is not. Consultancy is always separate. And when you talk about the wage bill, we don't include consultancy. Consultancy is not part of it. It's always been like that. Consultancy is different. It's managed differently, even though we manage it on the same system in terms of paying up. Yeah.
That separate payroll, I understand, is over $300,000 per month. And that includes, it's mostly seditions, only loyal seditions.
Normally, Jackie,
and for election purposes, can I finish my question?
Okay,
and for election purposes, people like from the counties that fall under the chiefs and stuff, people were added to that payroll, sedition family members and friends. some who are sitting right in America or in the UK, they're not even working in Liberia. There are two separate payroll systems that are going right now under the government of Liberia, and that separate payroll is
at
least $300,000.
You speaking like as if you know it to be a fact.
But Jackie, you have evidence for this thing you're saying, Jackie? Or you just
he doesn't have any evidence, nothing whatsoever.
Everything I've said so far, Mr. Thompson has verified it.
No, but you say that you have two separate payrolls.
Jackie, let me tell you something. I'm not going to sit there and respond to your rumors.
It's not rumors or facts.
If you don't have facts, you don't have information, I won't respond to that. There's no discussion around that. These are the things you guys talk about that you don't know.
Let's move
you just
on
go
to
around.
next
Oh,
question.
they get chief people on consultancy. They get chief.
Do you not have a consultancy payroll?
But Jackie, we have a consultancy payroll. You are on that payroll, right?
No, what I'm talking about right now.
You are on that payroll.
You harmonize everything. I'm talking about right now.
Consultancy is not under the way.
It was
consultancy payroll, right?
You said you combine the allowance with the basic pay, which is fine.
But allowance and basic pay is not consultancy. What we did with consultancy, listen, Jackie, when we touched consultancy, what we did, and you know about it, what we did is that we set pay limits for consultants serving government. You got affected by that, right?
I'm talking about right now. What happened?
Did you get affected by that?
No. This is a new payroll.
You did.
This is a new
You're one of those people you are talking about when you say people are not happy. You are one of those because you were terribly unhappy.
I was unhappy for everybody. I mean, it's clear.
You are unhappy for yourself. And so I can understand where your questions are coming from.
No. Mr. Thompson.
So Jackie, let me clarify that.
You can just tell me yes or no.
We don't have a consultancy payroll where we bring seditions and put it on the consultancy payroll. That's not how we manage the consultancy payroll.
Yeah, just tell me yes
People
or no.
don't come with ID cards and get on the consultancy payroll.
Just tell me yes or no, because I understand you are running two different payroll systems right now.
Hey, Jackie, what you call payroll system?
After the harmonization process
consultancy.
No.
Jackie is there. Everybody know it. The World Bank know. The IMF know. Everybody know. We have consultancy. It's different from the central government payroll.
A separate payroll system running right now where the monthly pay is around $300,000.
No, Jackie, I'm not prepared to talk about what the consultancy and the monthly consultancy payroll is. Yes, there is consultancy, and you were part of that.
Is there a separate payroll running right now?
But what you call separate payroll? We pay.
The harmonization system that you put together.
We pay consultants through the same ATAP system. It's just that we don't count consultancy in the general central government payroll and the wage bill. That's the difference. But it works. It's on the same system. It's on the same system. It's under the Civil Service Agency.
Okay, so the answer is yes, right?
I don't know what answer you're asking for.
Okay. So are there any people in the payroll who are sitting here in America and in the UK?
No, I don't know, Jackie. I don't know about that. And if you know any of them, please let me know.
Okay, so my other question to you
just send the names to me. I will check it out.
My other question to you is, there were some people when you were doing the harmonization who were not, has everybody been adjusted up to their pay? Because there were some people who were down and their pay needed to go up because in the initial harmonization process was to reduce the wage bill. So at that time, they were not bringing people pay up to where it needs to be. Have those people pay been adjusted upward to where it needs to be?
Thank you. I think the point is you haven't been listening to me. Because this is exactly what we've been talking about. So we're saying what we identified was 80% of government employees made below the pay for their grade. When we harmonize the two systems, they bring out basic salary and the allowance system, and then brought in all of those other entities that were not on the system, we realized a lot of people were making way below the pay for their grade. There were those above the pay for the grade. There were those making the pay for the grade. We calculated that to bring everybody to the pay for the grade would have cost the government an extra $120 million. Of course, obviously, the government couldn't afford that. And so what we've done over the years was constantly adjust pay based on the savings we generate from the efficiency we apply to the pay system. For instance, paying people directly to their accounts eliminated a lot of fraud. The government were paying salaries, giving bulk pay to agencies. We had no idea what agencies were actually paying their staff. When we started to pay people directly, we realized there were a lot of savings we were making. Because, for instance, when people suspended their staff, money remained in their accounts. They utilized it without any reference to the government. Those monies now remain with the ministry of with the government. So there were a lot of things that happened, and so we were able to make a lot of savings. And through the savings that we constantly make, we adjust pay, and we've done thousands and thousands of pay adjustments. People are going up. I'm not saying I can't tell you that. Look, we're still not where half of the people are at the pay for the grade, but we're making steady progress in taking pay.
Let me for program note. We'll be going to the lines in the next 8 minutes. We'll get the librarian people involved in this conversation. People will be calling in, ask questions. Yeah. And also, we are on a standby. The president will be addressing the United Nations General Assembly in a few minutes. We hope to bring it live. So we may interrupt our program to listen to the president address. I heard he should be speaking for about 15 minutes or so. But we will bring his address live. Our man, Keff Hassan, is in the hall of the General Assembly. And as soon as the president is about to address the United Nations General Assembly, we'll bring that address live. But in the meantime, we'll be going to the lines in 7 minutes. So let's continue. Mr. Thompson, my question is, when you guys, I just want to know that the total wage bill prior to the CDC, when that the former government, the new government left it at what figure before you guys came in? What was the total?
It was around 299 million.
And today is what?
Today, on the system, I just checked. That 69,000, if you go and look at the wages, is around 300 million. But it might go beyond 300 million because of the adjustment we made for the $150. When we indicate that, we probably go above that. Yeah.
Okay. So my second question. So when you guys did the adjustment of salaries, you did it across the board, or was just selective, or was it across the board, the adjustment of salaries and so allowances?
No, so Tomalin, what we did was that we merged basic salary and allowance and determined using the prevailing rate. We quoted the joint salary now in US dollar. And let me tell you something I didn't explain. Part of the reason why a lot of people would tell you that they experience pay cut is not because we rarely cut their pay. So let me tell you what used to happen. If you are making, say, $20,000 Liberian dollar as basic salary and earning around $400 US dollar as allowance, when we merge those two, at the time, say around 15,000, and when we merge the two, you started to earn $500. Guess what happened with that 500? In the past, Social Security contribution was paid only from that Liberian dollar component of pay. 4% employee Social Security contribution came from, so for instance, came from 15,000. You walk away with your 400. So when we merged pay and allowance, and you got $500, we apply 4% to $500 US. It meant that you pay more in Social Security contribution than you did before. And I told civil servants about this. Don't question this. It betters, your retirement benefits. We are experiencing a problem today where people who retired are retiring on $3,000 Liberian dollars a month, $2,500 a month, which is unacceptable. So now they can expect that they will receive something better because Social Security has benefited enormously from that kind of adjustment we made. The other thing that happened was people who moved from people who moved from, say, because what they did in the past was that they calculated income tax separately for the Liberian dollar pay and the US dollar pay. When you combine the two, you probably fell into a higher tax bracket. And so you experience reduction in your pay. So that's part of the experience that a lot of people tell you about experiencing that they lost, the lost pay. Well, not because pay was actually cut for a lot of people. Yeah.
I got a text message from a civil servant who asked me to ask you, the question is, about the harmonization not taking into consideration tenure, TOR, the number of years people have worked, because you may have an employee who worked over 15 years in the system and they were able to get some increment and adjustment in their pay over the 15 years. But then that same person is hired yesterday, 2 days ago, and they are expected to make the same pay.
Yeah.
And as the person who's been in the system. And there are some people who work maybe 12, 15, 12, 18 hours a day, as opposed to some people who work 6 hours a day. And these are some of the discrepancy that the civil servants have, which I feel is not right, because it didn't take into consideration the number of years, the person's experience, even to some extent the person academic background, and what they're doing now on the current job. And even for our driver, you may have a driver who comes into work at 9 o'clock and leave at 4. But you have some drivers who drive their bosses out of town, they sleep out of town. Their TOR is different from the other driver TOR who clocks out 9 to 4 every day. And these are some of the concerns the civil servants have. Can you address that?
Yeah, Jackie, that's a concern I have myself. And this is not a 2018 problem or a 2019 problem. The civil service has always been like that. And basically what it does is that it pays. So the way the system works is that we have grades, pay grades, and then for each pay grade we have steps, right? So people are supposed to move, up those steps based on tenure, based on experience, based on and stuff like that. But it's never really worked. Pay has always been fixed. The budget is passed. Compensation is 300 million. I mean, you wonder how you're going to make those adjustments when pay is fixed, when the compensation is what it is. It's a difficult thing to do. What we've even started to do was to develop a new scheme of service where we have grades now for those people. So, for instance, we have driver 1, driver 2, driver 3, and something like that, so that there are justifications for moving up. But before, it was just flat. You have driver, and if the guy has been there for 6 years and another guy comes today, they probably make the same salary. It's that kind of thing that we're trying to correct, but it's an issue problem. That's how it's been. Health and education were a different experience, because normally when people gain new experience, perhaps you are a nurse, you became a BSc nurse, there were adjustments in pay, or teacher who became or teacher training graduate who became teacher will probably go up once he got a bachelor degree. But let me tell you, some of that has been difficult to do. And you know why it's been difficult to do? Because we came in and inherited a lot of challenges with paying new health workers. When I say new health workers, this is what I mean. You know that there was FARA, for example. FARA closed. FARA sent to us 1,000 health workers and say, oh, these people, you have to absorb them based on our agreement. You also have the pool, the health sector pool fund. The health sector pool fund was paying 2,000 health workers that were working for the central government. We inherited those people as well. We had to start paying them. So we have to say to health workers, there has to be some kind of solidarity here, because normally the funds we need to continuously adjust your pay is going to help to absorb your people, because these people were not paid by government. Now they are government's responsibility. And so some of that got affected. Same thing with the teachers. If we are bringing in the supplementary teacher, 3,500 of them, then of course they are going to absorb some of the money that was available to continuously adjust paying education. But even with that, we've tried to work through that and to make the necessary adjustments when we found the means. Right now, we've worked on a whole pay reform system for the health sector, pharmacists, doctors, nurses, all of that, and we're trying to finalize that, even though we have already started to implement some of that.
Okay, we'll go to the phone lines now. We'll start taking calls, let the Liberian people get involved. So, Helen, Jala, if you're ready, you can start taking calls, announce the numbers, so we can start taking calls to get the public involved.
Following very closely, you can now place in your call to 0777017 635 0777017 placing your call to form part of the discussion here on the closing argument. 0777017 635
So callers, you can start calling. And
hello, to this caller. How are you?
Thank you. Thank you, my brother. I am Michael Senior, and I'm the chairperson of the International Alliance of Liberia.
Calling from where?
Let me say, I'm calling from New Jersey.
Okay.
District 18. Yeah, let me say hands up to the guest in studio. I think it's quite well. And the question my sister is in the back and forth for Jackie. And when he mentioned that Jackie, one of the beneficiaries that it's better today. I want to believe that because Jackie is very about the way the function and what's happening. But Jackie is been through forever. And politics, that is not a politics. The church is being she was not a beneficiary of that table she gets her. And she's not a church is being that's what the issue about the politics too much, my brother Jackie. That's what your point. Thank you, my brother.
Okay, thank you so much. Indeed, we should put a lab rough word and put aside the politics. 0777017-635. I'm placing your call, the phone part of the discussion here on the closing argument. To this caller, hello? How are you? Okay. Hello. Jackie is a panelist.
Not journalist.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much. 077701765. 077701765. Hello. How are you? Your name and from where you join us? Okay, Charles. Go to the point. 1 minute.
I wanted to know if the harmonization affected those who were making any $500 USD and below. Because I learned that there were many steps. So I wanted the guests to explain that separately, especially the teachers. And I learned people any increased teacher salary to around students on the BSc. And I wanted the guests to also address if teacher salary are increased or they are going or they are being decreased. Sometimes fluctuate between, so I want to know if the teachers are increase on fees on the file or
okay, you will address that.
I have a caller. Go ahead, caller. Go ahead.
Okay.
To the guests, I want to say thank you for the information you provided. There was a lot I learned of this subject. Jackie, thanks for the questions that you asked, because I think your questions were on point. The guest came off a little bit defensive, but through his explanation, he verified some of the things you were saying. But what I do want to say is, you guys, Mr. Thompson, you're facing some challenges, which is number when you fix your system, it's not going to be perfect from the get-go. It takes a while. It's probably going to take a couple of years for you to get it perfect. So it's obvious that you're met a mess. You're facing some challenges to fix it, and eventually you'll get to that perfection that you're striving for. My curiosity is, even though you guys couldn't adjust everybody pay immediately because it's going to cost the government a lot, how do you decide who's going to get an adjustment and who's not? Because that could kind of come off as bias if there's not like a guidelines for that. So I'm just curious, not criticizing it at all, but I'm just curious to know.
Thank you.
Heron, yeah, take female calls. Okay, I got another one. Another caller. Go ahead, caller.
Good evening. Good evening, Mr. James Thompson. Thank you so much for the show, Jackie and Tomalin. Thank you so much for participating on the show. Thank you so much. The question I have for you, Mr. James, I understand your harmonization, which and also the challenges that came with the additional teachers coming on the budget and the additional health workers coming on the budget. So, and also the administrative costs on the budget, which was mainly salaries, as you explained, 300 million or even greater than that. So the question for me is to you is, what did the government do, or what did the leadership do to accelerate or to increase economic growth that would have led to more more taxes on the collection side to feed the budget to offset the increase in the administrative costs? You understand what I'm saying? You get my point? You're adding on more salaries onto the budget, so the budget is increasing. But then economic growth, GST collection on the other side have to be what increased, right, from economic expansion to then offset that administrative increase. So what did the government do there? Because if there's nothing done for economic expansion, then you're being left in the red. You get my point? You're being left in the red, and that red is only going to increase and increase and increase, which will ultimately lead to salaries not being paid and other things having to shortfall. So I just want you to kind of explain on that. Thank you.
Go ahead, Aaron. A few more calls.
No, I will not keep you on the line. Kind of lower the volume of the monitor. You gotta be another caller. If you call, dress power on the radio. 0707017 at 635. So this caller, hello. 0707017 at 635. Hello. I will not keep you on if I keep getting the feedback. Zero 777 at 635. Placing your call to phone part of discussion here tonight, a closing argument. We'll take just 5 callers and then we'll go back to our guest. Hello. How are you? Okay, Robert. Hello? Yeah.
Can you hear me? I'm not hearing you. Please read the question for the guests.
Hello? The caller is saying that you want the person that benefited from how you call it?
The harmonization.
Yes, you want the person that benefited from the harmonization. So the guest is saying the guest is in his interest. He's benefited from the harmonization. Hello? How are you? Calling from where? Okay, Jerry, be very brief. 1 minute.
I didn't get the question.
He didn't get a question.
No, he did not. Okay. If you are a degree holder,
I got that.
You got it? Okay. You got a question? We'll take just 2 more.
Yeah, 2 more.
Yeah. Hello. How are you? Your name, from where you join us? Okay, Joseph, go ahead. 1 minute. Go to the point. Okay. Sorry about that. Who's gonna be that last caller? 0777017 at 635. Okay, we'll take this person. Hello. How are you? Hello. Yeah, Pastor, you're live. Thank you, Pascal.
Okay. That would do it for the calls. Thank you, Henry. Mr. Thompson, before you answer this question, just for our listeners and viewers, unfortunately, Kev, we did not get the president live, but the president just spoke. But right after Mr. Thompson answered these questions, we'll bring the president address to the United Nations. He already he spoke a few minutes ago, but I think we have the address. But go ahead, Mr. Thompson, you can answer these questions, and then you can just do your closing comments. Thank you so much. Go ahead.
Thank you. I will start from the bottom up. The last question was, if a degree holder takes a civil service exam, what pay grade would they start at? Let me also announce, before I answer the question, that we've developed our civil service exam on a new online platform. And before the end of the month, so the civil service exam will be available online. You will not have to come from Maryland to register in Monrovia and take the exam. And that's one of the progress we've made. A degree holder, well, the civil service exam is not necessarily for degree holders. You take the exam for a particular position. There are testable positions in the civil service. So when you take the exam, the position that you get will determine the pay. Yeah. Somebody asked, what did the government do to increase economic growth? Okay. Well, I'm not sure I have I have sufficient background to speak about this, but one of the things that I can boast of is that we've increased domestic revenue by close to $200 million. And I always like to tell people, with all the things that people say in this country, one of the things I realize is that the most challenging problem we have is a money problem. With all the things that people say they will do, in a country that operates on 700 million, what can you do with 700 million? If your wage bill alone is 300 million, what else can you do? You pay loans, you pay back, interest and to do on loans. You run the government, you pay the wage bill, and there are people like Jackie who are arguing for more money, for civil servants, which of course we appreciate, but you have to bring down the numbers to apply the bigger pay. Because if we continue to throw the money at at government employees, then it will mean that the government is serving itself. And those are the things we need to address. 700 million is nothing. A whole country. That's part of the challenge we face. And so, but thankfully, we're operating now a budget of around 700 and something million because we increased domestic revenue by 200 million. I'm sure the guys in the economy who manage the economy will come and say some of the things that they have done. And I'm sure they've been on your show already. Somebody asked, who gets adjusted? Now, that's a very good question. And we've worked with agencies to ensure that when there's excess resources in compensation, we and them sit together and decide how those adjustments will be made based on the payroll of the agency and the current status of pay for different categories of employees. And one of the things, Tomalin, I would like to just say so that people understand, I don't put politics in my work. When I say things here, they're exactly the way things are. Go and ask the fire service, go ask LIPA, go ask all of those people. This is what we do with them. If they have excess in compensation, we sit with them, work with them, and say to them, this is the way it must go. Because the danger is if you give people the right, the exclusive right to adjust pay, they will be biased. They will probably increase the pay of people who are already way above others. And so we work with them to make sure that there's some kind of equity in the application of that excess that they have. So yeah, we work with the agencies to ensure that there's a fair application of excess resources for compensation. And somebody says, do teachers still make $375? Well, I don't know. He said that was a pay that Madam Salif said. I'm not sure about that. But there are different pay levels for different kinds of teachers in the system, depending on their qualification. So you have the teacher training graduate. You have some people in the system who do not even have teacher training graduate and certification, but they teach in the system. And that's because of the challenge we have in the system. In education, there's a lot of turnover, people working in one place, they get tired and move sometimes without notification. You have to replace them. We have a lot of people who are volunteers who are on standby. So we have the pool from which we can replace. But teachers' pay depends on teachers' qualification. So there are teacher training. And in fact, in teacher training, under teacher training qualifications, there are different levels. You got B certificate, you got C certificate, and the pay is determined by their level. And then you got BSc teachers, you got master's teachers, and you got school administrators, you got principal. Those are different levels that determine different kinds of pay they receive. He said, did harmonization affect persons making $500 and below? I'm not sure what that really meant. It depends on who was making $500. If a cleaner, for instance, was making $500, then obviously that cleaner needed downward adjustment. And the argument has always been, oh, you bring the person paid down. Are people suggesting that we're supposed to take all the cleaners to $500 because one cleaner was making $500? And that's the kind of argument I don't understand. How did the cleaner get to 500? Now, I'm not saying 500 is too good for a cleaner, because ideally for me, if we had the resources, I would say the minimum pay in the public service should be 500. But I'm saying under the circumstances, how did that person get when all the other cleaners were making 200, 250, 175, and one cleaner makes 500? It's because that cleaner benefited from the discretionary application of the allowance, and we had to correct that. That's basically what happened. So yes, it depended on where you were and how much you earned, depending on the nature of your job and the pay you earn. Obviously, there were a lot of people who made pay for the position that were way above. Some people innocently, it was not their fault. Like the folks who work for the Civil Service Agency, the Ministry of Finance, all of that, or reform was happening, but that reform got stalled after it benefited only 4 agencies of government, and we had to fix that as well, because the rest of the government did not benefit, and many, many years had passed. Yeah. So yes, you say my closing argument. Jackie, you wanted to say anything to me?
Yeah, Mr. Thompson, I have a question from a civil servant.
Yeah.
The salary, annually adjustment. Has there been any salary adjustment? If so, why not over the past 6 years? When I say salary adjustment, meaning like pay raise or anything for civil servants, or once you got paid X dollar amount, that remain the same for you consistently for the past 6 years?
No, not necessarily. I just told you, for example, Jackie, we move all civil servants. If you look at the payroll before, there were civil servants, there were people on the payroll earning as low as $40, $50. If you look at, for instance, our local government officers, township commissioner, and clerks, and all of those people, they made nothing. We move all of those people. The minimum pay in government today is $150. We move all those people to $150. That was massive pay increment that we did for them, and we have not adjusted, basically. And I don't know if that's the question. We have not adjusted pay in terms of moving the minimum pay for positions across government. We did the minimum pay for those who made below $150. So even some of those people who went to $150 still earn below the pay that they should be making for the positions that they are in. So we have not basically increased pay by moving the basic pay from where it is to something else. We haven't done that. But in terms of pay adjustments, we made massive pay adjustments. And that whole group of people who have moved from below $150 to $150 was a massive boost to all of those who work for government.
And one more question for our people sending me text. There's one person who sent me a message, said that the downward adjustment in the pay affected the bank loan. And I think that was across the board with a lot of people who received downward adjustment in their salary, which caused, of course, as you know, the trickle effect is bad debt on the bank books. I guess there's nothing that you, as a civil service manager or director, do you have any, I don't know, words for those people who were negatively affected financially because of the downward, and they had debt sitting down there in the bank where they were not able to pay and they defaulted on the loan?
Yeah, obviously, if that was the case, but in a lot of instances, though, people may have gotten loans without, our involvement. But yes, obviously, if people had loan obligations and the experience of cutting a pay, obviously it's a regrettable situation. I'm not going to say anything more than that. Look, but we also, I remember one of the things we did when we started harmonization. The harmonization exercise was a participatory process. We brought HR directors, head of administration. If the head of the agency could come, we always provided an orientation. We always had a conversation. We participated together in the adjustments that we made. And we told people, for example, and I think the Ministry of Finance can speak more to this. We said those instances where people had loans and they were affected in terms of pay, We wanted a situation where we could have intervened with the banks for them. And I don't know if a lot of that happened. If people reported that, it was an issue, that we were very concerned about. And I remember us having our conversation with a number of HRs and say, if people are having this kind of problem, we need to intervene with the banks for them so that the bank understand they can make some adjustments in their payment terms or something like that. Now, but I can report on what actually happened as a result of that. But what we have done in addition to all of that is that we've also instituted a new massive welfare program for the civil service where, a lot of things are available now to civil servants. That old LPS scheme, we've reoriented that scheme, is available now to civil servants. We have loan systems, loan opportunities available at risk that they can afford instantly without having to provide collateral and all of that. So there are a number of things we're working on. In fact, banks have approached us. They want to now extend loans to government employees using our welfare platform. And we are negotiating right now with EcoBank and AfriLand to make that possible.
Okay. And also when they announced that there were going to be harmonization, of course, Department of Labor or Ministry of Labor, their books, the law in the books was that civil servants' pay cannot be adjusted downward. Has that been adjusted as a policy on our books? I know this went to the legislature, and a lot of the legislators try to advocate on behalf of their constituents for the civil servants' pay to remain the same, because a lot of civil servants flock to the legislators and ask them not to happen. As a result, the legislature had to pass something. But that contradicted the law on our books, which said you could not decrease a civil servant pay.
No, not the law. It was not definitive that pay cannot be reduced. We dealt with that. So obviously they say and it says if it's part of a national exercise, then people can get affected, so that you don't go picking, and adjusting pay, So it became a national exercise with the Legislative Act, and that was to ensure that it was this exercise was fair, was applicable across the system. It was not intended to target any particular individuals, and that's why the legislature intervened and passed the Standardization Act.
Mr. Thompson, I want to say thank you, and if you have your parting comments, I believe that you have been very honest. You have come, I think, in my observation, you came honest, very honest, and frank with the Liberian people, and you have answered the questions to the best of your ability, and they left with a court of public opinion to figure out whether they were satisfied or not. But I believe that you came through to address this issue of harmonization, and you have answered the questions that have been asked and the question the public asked too. We appreciate you, and like you said, there's a program you guys have established for civil servants to instead of the OLPA system, where they can also take loans and other stuff, which is very happy to hear that too. And I pray that in the future, whoever wins this election, they should continue with it. If this government continues to be re-elected, you should continue with it and improve it too. Like one of the callers said, she said there were challenges. You guys, as anybody will experience challenges in such a process. And she believed that if you guys continue to work on it and fix it, in the future, it will get better. So I want to appreciate you. Thank you for your service to the country. And you can give your parting comments to us now. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, look, I want to appreciate you for the opportunity. This is my first time on the closing argument, and I'm happy that I have met my old friend, Jackie. Jackie, I don't know where the people got the idea from that you are bitter. I don't think that's what I said.
Yeah, because they keep on repeating. They say,
yeah, you're asking honest questions. So I mean, and those are questions. Listen, I have been in situations where we've done presentations, and I get disappointed with the questions that I get because people don't ask serious questions. And I like the kinds of questions you asked. This is not being bitter. Those are questions that I would expect, from, people who really want to understand and get down to the bottom of the issues, because you hear a lot of conversations around this issue, and you've picked up a lot of things raised by civil servants themselves, sending you messages, and those are their concerns that you are conveying. Look, we did an exercise that we thought was absolutely important. I managed to deal with a guy from the U.S. Embassy, and the guy said, "Look, this exercise you did was very important." He said, "This pay system that you had compromised," in his own words, compromised a lot of the things we wanted to do with the government of Liberia. I had a World Bank official come from Washington and say, "This thing you have done will build tremendous goodwill for the government. This is something that needed to be done. Nobody had the courage to do it. We developed the political will and did it. The mandate for this, in fact, when we started the exercise, Tomalin, it was like we were saying the Director General of the CSA and the Minister of Finance must write the agencies and inform the agencies that we're going to do this exercise and for the agencies to comply. We thought about that for a long time and said, no, we need a president to do that. We go to the president said, fine. The president does the communication, mandating every agency of government to participate in the exercise. And remember, even in cabinet, there were a lot of, pushback and talk, and there, at some point he quieted the revolt. The exercise continued because all of us knew that we had to do it. We could not manage that kind of system that we had because that system was responsible for the constant growth in the wage bill. If you see how the wage bill grew, now we have serious control over the wage bill. We manage the payroll system. We have control over the numbers, and when we speak about the system, we have it right before us, and we can tell you at any point in time where we are, the total number of employees, the payroll. In fact, I call my sister now. I tell you who's gotten paid, who hasn't gotten paid. All of that is right in one place, and that's the value of the work that we've done. And right now, that old system where people could come to the civil service, we're all passing through the civil service, it's gone. Now we and it protects employees as well, because people could just kick people off before and bring somebody in. Now you can, because if you are changing an employee or you are terminating an employee, you have to justify that to the civil service agency. And if you don't provide the right justification, it's not going to happen. So all of these are the benefits of what we've done. And of course, it saved the country money that we can use to do other things. Even though we have not added so much new money to the wage bill, we've managed the wage bill efficiently that we are able to continuously increase pay. Long term, the solution to addressing the wage problem is to reduce the size of government. And that's what basically we've tried to do. We moved from 76,000 plus, we're down to 69,000. We'll continuously go down. And that's because of the commitment we've made and the work that we're doing. And I just want to thank you for this time, the opportunity to explain all of this to the public.
Thank you so much. Jackie, you got one more again?
Yeah, it's on behalf of the people asking.
Oh, yes. Yes.
One of the concerns they have with election and all this stuff going on, will civil service be able to get paid throughout the end of the year? That's one of the questions.
Tomalin, this is one thing I really need to talk about. Only the civil servants who are calling people in America will tell you that they haven't taken pay for 3 months, 4 months, 2 months, because I was in the States the other day, and unfortunately for somebody, they called my friend and was telling her they are not taking pay for 3 months, and I said, I want to know that person who hasn't taken pay for 3 months. Jackie, pay is regular. Let me tell you something. The only challenge we face in 2023 is because of the election year and the advances we have to make. One of the things that used to happen in the past, when the government was confronted with salaries, they could easily go to the central bank, take advances, and pay salary. We don't credit from the central bank. We pay based on what we collect. So that's how we pay the payroll. And even with that, we're regular with the payroll. So what has happened in 2023 is because you have to make a lot of advances to NEC and other people. It throws us back a little bit in terms of our ability to pay on time. So sometimes pay runs into the next month, but by the time the next pay period comes, we owe no civil servant. So pay is constant, pay is regular. All I talk, but people ain't take pay for 2 months, 3 months. They are not civil servants making those comments. They are people who want to politicize it.
So civil servants are being paid up to the
civil servants are paid. I want any civil servant who tells you that government owed for 3 months, 2 months. I want to see them.
Thank you.
Tell them anytime they tell you that, ask them for their name and where they work, and then contact me. I'll give you the facts.
So I just got last two. You can answer in one quickly. Just the last two.
No problem. No problem.
Thank you so much. The variance with the 8,000 from the GSC report, is there anything that I know you said they did the verification process. Are they still doing it?
Yeah, no,
or
so Jackie, they did the exercise before. They submitted to us around 10,000 names. They said of people that they did not verify. So we asked them to continue the exercise. It's expensive to keep them doing it though. So they came and set up at the Civil Service Agency, the whole team, and civil servants who could not be verified at the time of the exercise came and did that verification. But I think GSC was only able to verify around 2,000 because most of the people are in the counties. So we got specific requests from health workers and teachers that the people should go to them because they can't abandon the classrooms and the health facilities to come to Monrovia. And we also feel for them. Coming to Monrovia is extremely expensive. It's difficult. So we had to find the resources, and soon the GSC will be out in the counties to complete the verification exercise. And of course, we're telling everybody, this is the last exercise. If you're not verified, you're not verified. We're going to drop you. Yeah.
And how long will that process take? A month, 2 months?
The GSC has given us a schedule. I don't know. Yeah, but they're doing different teams. They don't want to go one team because it would take too long. So they're doing 4 teams in 4 regions.
Okay. And then my last question, you said that you were able to bring it down from 76K to 69. That's a difference of about 7,000. What happened to those people?
What happened to them?
Yeah, you say you were able to, yeah.
Many of them retired.
Oh, okay. So they went through the retirement process.
We implemented retirement. And then when people got separated for different reasons, we encourage the agencies to promote. And and so at the end of the day, net they had some savings, and then we encourage them to use some of that savings to adjust pay.
Okay, I know some of those who got retired, which is good. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson.
I think
you have done justice. And I appreciate it. I think you did an awesome job explaining this process, and I hope people can now, as I said, the code of public opinion can make their own judgment, but I think you have done justice by answering these questions and providing explanation to the people about this whole process. Thank you for your service to our country, and God bless you.
Thank you, Tomalin.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Jackie. Bye-bye.
Folks, as I said earlier, I think it was a good exercise, and I hope that we can discuss it further in future programs. But as I said earlier, I brought the president address live, but I heard he just got through speaking, and the studio got the president address. Can you please post it that we watched the president as he addressed the United Nations Assembly a few minutes ago?
Nations experiencing loss of lives due to recent natural disaster. May the souls of all the faithful departed rest in perfect peace. I'm honored to address the 78th sessions of the United Nations General Assembly on behalf of the government and people of the Republic of Liberia. I congratulate His Excellency Mr. Dennis Francis on his elections as President of the 78 sections of the United Nations General Assembly, trusting that he will bring his word of experience to bear on the works of this August Assembly. I wish to assure him of my delegation's further support as he steers the works of this Assembly successfully in fulfillment of the expectation and confidence reposed in him. Let me use the occasion to congratulate your predecessor, His Excellency Saba Korosi, for the capable manner in which he administered the affairs of the 77th session of this General Assembly. Let me also commend His Excellency Mr. Antonio Guterres, Secretary General of the United Nations, for the astute manner in which he continues to administer the affairs of the United Nations in these difficult and challenging times. His foresight, commitment, and dedication have kept the United Nations firmly on course. Mr. President, Excellencies, distinguished delegates, we have convened at a time when the world is faced with many challenges: security, social, economic, political, and natural disaster. We must exert our collective efforts to confront these challenges with a view of resolving them in order to have a safer, secure, and prosperous future. We must continue to promote global solidarity and rebuild trust in accelerating progress on the Sustainable Development Goals, the SDGs. The SDGs, by design, require bilateral and multilateral collaborations to achieve the result we seek. The theme of this year's debate, rebuilding trust, reuniting global solidarity, accelerating actions on the 2030 Agenda and its SDGs towards peace, prosperity, progress, and sustainability for all, adequately captured our current global demands. There is a critical need to ensure that development assistance is aligned with SDG projects. That is why my delegation welcomes and supports the Secretary General agenda for actions to accelerate the implementation of existing agreements, including the Sustainable Development Goals, and to re-embrace global solidarity and find new ways to work together for the common good of mankind. As the world deals with unprecedented global political and security challenges, there are growing concerns about the proliferations of non-state armed actors, threats of nuclear escalations, and extreme climate conditions. These challenges continue to serve as obstacles to our quest for a safe and peaceful world. Reaching the 2030 vision is to ensure that the journey is secure through accountability and mutual understanding. Liberia is committed to the 2030 Agenda and the Sustainable Development Goals, the SDGs. They are in line with our flagship National Development Plan, the Payroll Agenda for Prosperity and Development, which represents our resolve to achieve peace and prosperity while addressing the structural impediments to economic growth and national development. Mr. President, the slowdown in global economic growth continues to be a challenge. Over the past 12 months, Liberia has made progress in areas ranging from health to education, gender equality, and infrastructure development. We are proud of our achievements in reducing maternal mortality rates, increasing gender parity in school enrollment, and elevating our overall health and well-being. Liberia appreciates the fact that this august body has once again directed its attention to issues of global health, as demonstrated by the number of high-level meetings to keep these critical issues on our collective agenda. Mr. President, we emphasize unity of purpose as we address challenges aimed at providing basic services to all peoples. Considering that more than 60% of Liberia's population comprises of youth, the future of our nation rests on their shoulder. Understanding this immense responsibility, we are committed to continue paving the way for their growth and development. Being cognizant that structural transformation drives prosperity, we are focused on infrastructure development with roads and energy playing a critical part. Thanks to the support of our many partners, we remain unwavering in our commitment to explore means to further the implementations of the Sustainable Development Goals as it represents the roadmap towards prosperity. The October polls will mark the fourth peaceful general elections in Liberia since the end of the Civil War in 2003. This 78th session is taking place at a time when my country is preparing for the first election since the withdrawal of the UN peacekeeping presence from Liberia. The October 10 election is an opportunity to sustain the gains made in our reconstruction and development processes. Mr. President, Excellency, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the government of Liberia has taken all necessary measures to ensure a free, fair, transparent, peaceful, inclusive, and credible elections. The National Election Commission has been strengthened to ensure that it operates without undue influence. In addition, political parties have committed themselves to a non-violent electoral process by signing the 2023 Farmington River Declaration, which obligates all actors in the elections to continue to promote peace. As a strong believer in democracy, let me reiterate my call for the respect of constitutional governance and respect for the will of the people. While addressing the issues of elections and democracy, permit me to congratulate all democratically elected leaders around the world. Mr. President, our world is also under threat from natural calamities as seen with extreme climate conditions globally. It is therefore our collective responsibility to urgently prioritize addressing the climate crisis as we strive to reach a target of 64% reduction in carbon emissions. There remains a need to prioritize support to countries, including Liberia, that have the capacity to use its biodiversity in building resilience against the changing climate. The United Nations has always been confronted with challenges and has withstood the test of time. Hence, this too will come to pass. I wish to thank the Secretary General for his new agenda for peace. Liberia is in solidarity with these bold steps needed to address the triple crisis of disruption, biodiversity loss, and pollution destroying our planet. Liberia is hopeful that concrete global actions toward the attainment of the goals of the common agenda will be achieved. Liberia's journey is best captured in the spirit of unity, resilience, and ambition. Together, through collaborations and shared purpose, we can and must shape a world that upholds the rights and dignity of every individual. In alliance with our United Nations family, Liberia remains resolute in its commitment. We pledge to protect our planet, promote peace, and prevent conflict. We vow to ensure sustainable financing and amplify our partnership, reflecting our shared determination for a better future. We must also accept that this can only be achieved through collaboration between and among governments, non-government stakeholders, and other partners, which will guarantee transparency, accountability, good governance, and the inclusion of all citizens in the decision-making process. Mr. President, Excellency, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, let us remind ourselves that our collective strength lies in unity. Together, we can overcome any challenge, rebuild trust, promote peace, religious tolerance, uphold tenets of democracy, the rule of law, support women participation, encourage diplomacy, and strengthen global solidarity. I thank you.
On behalf of the Assembly, I wish to...
Well, that was the President of the Republic of Liberia, His Excellency George Nyenwolo, delivering his sixth assembly address to the United Nations General Assembly. In 2020, he spoke virtually because of the COVID, but this is the fifth appearance in person at the United Nations General Assembly. And in his speech, he has showed the world that Liberia elections in 2020 days will be free, fair, inclusive, transparent, and credible. He also said that Liberia support constitutional governance and the respect for the will of the people. So here we have it. His Excellency the President have showed the world and the Liberians that this election in 20 days will be free, fair, inclusive, transparent, and credible. So Jackie, you listen to the President. He addressed the United Nations General Assembly. We don't know. Perhaps President will be back next year, or we'll have a new president. As I say all the time, either a re-elected president or a new president. But the Liberian voters will determine that in 20 days. You have anything to say about the President address the United Nations? I should just listen to it.
Yeah, I'm glad to see him speak. I'm glad to see Liberia was one of the countries chosen for this 78th session of the UN Summit, which is the largest UN summit held every year in New York. And the theme, of course, for this year, the UN's been discussing and focusing on a lot of things, and which includes the Sustainable Development Goals. And every year, the UN look to see how well a country like Liberia and all those UN countries are performing when it comes to these Sustainable Development Goals. If people remember, prior to the Sustainable Development Goals, or SDG for short, were the Millennium Development Goals, which ended several years ago. And then from there, the UN came up with this new plan of action for UN members, which is called the Sustainable Development Goals, which he touched on, which has to do with climate change, gender equality, forming partnership, preserving the earth, and preserving the space that we occupy. And there are 17 thematic areas under the Sustainable Development Goals. And he talked about it. He touched on all of them: biodiversity, marine life, the forest, maintaining our forest, the emissions, peace, justice, education, water, and sanitation. Those are all the things that form under the SDGs. And I'm glad he spoke about it, which is good. And one key thing which he said was our election, maintaining that peace. And I look forward to the government ensuring that our country under him, President George Nyenwolo, will definitely have a peaceful, a fair, and transparent election over the next few days.
We got 5 more minutes. But I mean, one thing that caught my attention is that he has showed the Liberian people and the world that elections will be free, fair, inclusive, transparent, and credible. And he said that Liberia, he support, and he was in constitutional governance and respect for the will of the people. And our colleague Keff Hassan, I just saw a picture. He just took a picture of the president a few minutes ago. I don't know the guys got it, can put it up on board. Keff Hassan, the president just took a photo. And Keff, I don't know, we're expecting the president to, but again, Kev is still working on stuff. We'll see what happens tomorrow. But I think, yes, I think.
Can he make an appearance on the closing argument for a brief minute? Can Kev get him to make an appearance while he's with him?
working on it, Jackie. Working on it.
Because he's here in New York, it would be good for him to come on the closing argument.
Jackie, we in touch with Kev. We just.
I see Kev. His photo with the president.
Yeah, but again, as I said, Kev is working on things. Whatever. Let's see what happens. But so maybe anything can happen from there.
But Tomalin, do you know how many people travel with the president? Because the list I saw was about 64.
I can stop it, man. You come on, we got 64. Come on, man. Well, let's do. We got list from again. I'm not.
That's what I'm asking. Do you know how many people travel?
Well, I'm not getting the actual the count of people that travel, but I don't think 64 people who I saw so far. That's somebody hiding, but I don't think they reached that number.
You what? I didn't hear you.
I said I don't think 64 because I know I saw a few ministers so far I've seen already. But when Kev comes, you can ask Kev. Kev will do us tomorrow or later on. But as concerning the president, Kev is working on things. Perhaps we have a president's schedule and coming back on the cabinet show. So I don't know, but that's what happens. But I think we had a good show. The Director General of the Civil Service Agency. I think he did a good job explaining the harmonization. I hope your people would have come. We open up to everybody, so you can say I invite everybody to come to engage him.
Yeah, I think the internet in Liberia is bad as well.
So everybody was invited to come.
Yeah, people keep saying that the internet was not very.
Get prepared. We're looking forward. I think on Friday. Has Rena confirmed you'll be on Friday? Mariah confirmed she'll be here for the CPP, and Kano Badio for the CDC confirmed he'll be here on Friday. So left for you for the Unity Party. Roland Giddens, that opportunity again to come and make your case, come and engage the others, the other two top contestants in the race. Come and engage them. But again, if you don't show up again, don't blame. You shouldn't say that. Oh, no, it's an opportunity to come and engage Mariah, Kano Badio, and let's see what happens. Come and make your case to Liberian people. But today's the birthday of my sister, my older sister. She's in Trenton. Sister Wia. Today's her birthday. She hasn't been too well, but I thank God she's alive. She's doing much better. I want to praise God for her. I want to say happy birthday to Sister Wia in Trenton. From all of us, including Baby Joe, Hector Wia, Jinium, Bali Wia, Titi, and all her grandchildren and family and friends, especially the Trenton Professional Old Timers Association, TPAC, which she's a part of, and I'm a part of too. I want to wish her happy birthday and good health and longevity. We love you, we appreciate you, and we just say God bless you, Sister Ria, and I know I will see you on the weekend. I want to say happy birthday, God bless you, and I love you. Yeah, buddy, Jackie, you got anything to say so we can leave?
I just want to say it was a good interview having Thompson. Yeah,
here we go. As Kev, I saw you guys. Kev just met with the president just after his address to the United Nations. So Kev is in touch with the president, and perhaps we'll see whether Kev can get the president to appear in a closing argument. Hopefully we will see. Hopefully we'll have that. But let's see what happens in the next couple of hours. But we'll keep you guys updated. Okay. So Jackie, we're leaving so close. I mean.
It was a good interview. We got some good questions in. And it was a good interview with the CSA agency director, Mr. James Thompson. Like I said before, the harmonization is something that originated under the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning. So whatever the backlash of the harmonization is, I can't really blame Civil Service Agency, because that whole harmonization idea did not come from him. It did not come from the Civil Service Agency. It came from Minnesota, the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning. So That's where it initiated from. That's where it ended. So he came here and he explained what he needed to explain, but much of it has very little to do with him and more to do with the Ministry of Finance. That was their decision to cut people pay. It was not the CSA decision. So the burden is not on them. But having said that, again, as I close, I'm glad to see our president up there at the UN giving his speech today to address some of those thematic areas of concern for this 78th UN summit. But one of the things, Tomalin, that's on there as a concern that we touched on a few weeks ago is all the coup and stuff that's taking place in Africa is one of the focal areas of the session this year, the UN summit, along with Ukraine and other things. But the UN has been having meetings and they're taking this stuff seriously. CNN did a special, I think a few days ago, regarding all these coup etats that's taking place in Africa and what needs to be done, the Wagner situation. Wagner, some people say Wagner, which is I think the right pronunciation. English we say Wagner. So a lot of there's a concern at the UN summit regarding what's going on in Africa, and also the how to uphold the democracy throughout Africa. So these are some of the things that the UN leaders will be discussing, along with the SDG, the pandemic, the climate change, and all of that. So Africa is heavily on our radar at the UN summit this year, along with Ukraine.
Well, as you know, as President Weah just addressed the issue about that too. He said that one of the he said, I mean, the issue you just raised about this, what happened in Africa, the reasons why these things happening were because of people who want to overstay in power. They want to disrespect the will of the people. And he just showed the world about it. A few minutes ago, and told the people that he going to show them that the election will be free, fair, inclusive, transparent, and credible, and that he will respect constitutional governance and respect for the will of the people. So we look forward to that. And I'm just told that the president will be returning home on. He returning home. You guys can post it. Can you guys put it up for me? He returning home on Saturday, the 23rd of September at RIA, and they are calling on the triumph. They call it the triumphant return. Liberia's godsend development hero. Welcome home, Mr. President. John Townsend turning out to receive Liberia's champion of peace and development, His Excellency George M. Weah. So that's what I just received. So he'll be returning home on Saturday. Expected to be a triumphant, rousing welcome from the people, especially these people, the Seditians and.
Oh, they're getting people to go to the airport.
Jackie,
it's election time. I forgot.
Some people there. So the president.
People just went.
Come on, stop it. Stop it.
People just went.
By the way, but the guys, they can put in the studio. I don't know why they don't put it up, but we'll talk about it tomorrow, hopefully. But again, I want to say thank you to our viewers, and we'll look forward to having another program tomorrow. Ben Sanvee, he couldn't be with us. He was tied up at work, and also Peabody, but they will be with us tomorrow and the rest of the week. I want to say thank you to Henry Jada from True FM. Thank you,
Henry. Thank you so much for holding down the fort.
Your boss, O'Neill, tell O'Neill that we appreciate him. You're doing a great job. I want to appreciate all of those who make it a duty to stay up late to make this program.
Is it possible to put a cash app up starting tomorrow for our people?
Yeah, we'll put it up tomorrow. It's up tomorrow. Okay.
And let's keep it up every day through October 10th.
Thank you, and God bless you. So Jackie, confirm we're willing now for Top Friday. We want to put the posters up tomorrow. So please confirm. I want to know in the next few hours.
Who's coming on tomorrow, Tomani?
I will let you know, but I'm talking about Friday. Friday we'll have Mariah from CPP, Kanyo Badio from Kanyo Bala from this. We're expecting somebody from UP, and so you can figure out who you want to bring. But the two people have consent. They have agreed to be here on Friday.
Okay, so do you want to explain to the audience what's happening on Friday? Is this an exchange of what is it?
We'll be out there sharing the platform to make the case to see kind of we making a case for president. We have re-election, and Mara will be making a case for Mr. Cummings' election, and perhaps once somebody comes from your side to make the case for JMB election. That's why we'll be making a case. Different Liberian people stating why they should elect JMB, why President we should be re-elected, or why Mr. Cummings should be elected. That's what we'll be all about. So we'll be here to make the case and give the reasons why. Be convincing the people. It's a closing argument. Closing the argument will be here 20 days. Election will be held in our country. So
so we can take the banner down now. So thank you.
Yeah, so I'm asking you. So please confirm in the next few hours so we can know. Won't put the posters up to announce that it will be coming on Friday, please.
Okay.
And the person you get, let us send a picture so we can get it done. Thank you. Henry Jala, thank you a lot, man.
Bye, Henry.
And see you guys. God bless. Okay, bye-bye.
Well, folks, this is all the time we have to be with you on the closing argument. Let me say many thanks there to the team at KMTV, Ayasin Yiba and Patrick Wisse. I'm told that Ayasin is not feeling too well. Speedy recovery, and to the technician there, and to the team there at Hot FM 107.9. Also, the team here at the Renaissance Communication Incorporated at Truth FM 96.1 for always making it their duty to bring this program. So, on behalf of the team, my name is Heron Jara. I say bye-bye from my end.